फाड़ देंगे मुगल सल्तनत की छाती अगर मराठा साम्राज्य के विरुद्ध सोचने की जुर्रत की।
Vicky Kaushal's Chhaava is a historical epic that has captured the attention of the Indian film industry. Directed by Lakshman Uttekar, the film tells the powerful story of Shambhaji Maharaj, the second ruler of the Maratha Empire and the son of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, as he takes on the mighty Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. Based on Shivaji Savant's Marathi novel Chhaava, the movie covers key aspects from 1681 to 1689. The film stars Rashmika Mandanna as Maharani Yasubai and Akshay Khanna as Aurangzeb, along with Vicky Kaushal as Sambhaji Maharaj. Chhaava is an intense and emotional film filled with themes of power, revenge, and war. Its graphic violence adds to the drama but can also feel overwhelming at times. However, the movie has sparked controversy, especially over its depiction of the Shirke family as traitors. Deepak Rajesh Shirke has accused the filmmakers of misrepresenting history and demanded changes. His family has even threatened a 100 crore rupees lawsuit and statewide protests if the issue is not resolved. In response, director Ultekar personally apologized to Bhushan Shirke, a descendant of the family, for any unintentional harm caused. But the question arises, if Chhaava is an accurate portrayal of Shambhaji Maharaj or the history? To help us understand this better, we are joined by Dr. Ram Puniyani, an author, historian, and social activist.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us once again. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And of course, first, what we want to know is what's the real story of Sambhaji Maharaj? Like, what's the actual story as per history before we even start talking about the movie?
Yeah, Chhatrapati Shambhaji Maharaj was first son of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, and he was born in the middle of 16th century. I think that the exact date of birth you should know, 1657. He died in 1689 and ruled from 1681 to 1689. Okay. Now, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had already established a kingdom based on some norms of decency. His rule was one of the rules respected by the people of Maharashtra even today, because he ensured that the people, poor people, are and adequate respect for women. And thirdly, he had equal respect for both the religions. Now, when Chhatrapati Shambhaji Maharaj grew up, that time Shivaji Maharaj was in confrontation with side and Adil Shah of Bijapur on the other.
So can you speak a bit louder? The voice seems to be echoing.
Shivaji Maharaj was having confrontation with Chhatrapati. Shivaji Maharaj was having confrontation on one side with Aurangzeb in Delhi and Adil Shah in Bijapur. Now, when Sambhaji was born, to 9 years there is no significant things. But then there was something called Treaty of Purandar between Aurangzeb's representative Raja Jai Singh and Shivaji Maharaj. Now, as Sambhaji and his mother, they were to be kept with Raja Jai Singh as a security. So it was first step. So that was the first confinement of Sambhaji Maharaj. Then on the request of things like request or whatever you call, Raja Jai Singh, he took them to Aurangzeb court. Somebody, their old boy was with him. And when they went to the court, Shivaji Maharaj felt humiliated because he was made to stand in a lower line. Like, that time there was a hierarchy. People were standing according to the Mansabdari. Mansabdari. But Shivaji felt insulted when he was made to stand in the people having 5,000 status. Shivaji was expecting himself to be called either 10,000 Mansab or Raja. Raja was higher discipline. So he protested and they got arrested. After this arrest of Shivaji Maharaj and Sambhaji Maharaj, they manipulated in the court and they ran away.
This was at Panhala Fort, right?
Panhala Fort is coming. I'm coming to Panhala Fort.
Okay.
So when I came back, actually Panhala Fort comes before this, which I skipped. I'll tell you. Now, when even before Sambhaji became 9 years old, he was imprisoned in Panhala Fort by Shivaji Maharaj. Now, there are different versions of it, and some versions are not accepted by people who are very respectful of Sambhaji Maharaj. And this description in James Payne book and Savarkar and Goyal. Now, as per these versions, he was very brave on one side, but on the other, he was a and he was a humanizer. And one incident also comes where a Brahmin woman related by him. Angered by that, Shivaji Maharaj made him imprison in Panhala Fort. That Panhala Fort is right. From there, then he goes with Shivaji Maharaj and then comes back. After that, then again what happens that their struggle with Aurangzeb continues. And Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was close to his death. Shivaji Maharaj had a second son who was a stepbrother for Sambhaji Maharaj. His name was Raja Ram. And they were in the custody of Aurangzeb for some time. And when Shivaji Maharaj, seeing the qualities of both his sons, he decided that central part of his kingdom should go to Raja Ram and the peripheral part to Sambhaji. Sambhaji felt angered by this. He rebelled to their father. He joined the British forces. He joined the Mughal forces and rebelled. So this was part one. Now, after this, after the death of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, his stepmother, Sairabai, she installed her son Rajaram to the throne. That time, Sambhaji Maharaj was in Panhala Fort. So he rebelled, he came out by killing the in charge of the fort, and after that, he installed himself in the throne Raigad. Raigad was the capital of Shivaji. So, according him here, earlier he had flirted with Mughal army once or twice, even before this. And my point is that there were fluctuations in Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. In between, he associated with the Mughal army in attacking the king of Bijapur, Adil Shah. And also, he joined one of the Aurangzeb general. He joined Aurangzeb general against his father, but that general's behavior towards him was not good. So he came back to his father again. So this is various, not in the exact sequence of his life, but just to show that there were some sort of a discords with his father. Intermittently, he allied with Aurangzeb's forces. Finally, the story begins here when he sat on the throne of Raigad as a ruler of the
inheritance of his father.
Now, at that time, then Aurangzeb became very clear that he has to come south to control the increasing clout of Marathas. So this is the time Aurangzeb decided to come to south and settle himself in Bengaluru, from where he commanded his forces. Now, seeing the state of Aurangzeb, first what Sambhaji did, that he tried to block the supplies of Aurangzeb. So before this, Aurangzeb got annoyed. There was another reason also. Aurangzeb's son, Akbar, he had rebelled against Aurangzeb. So see the dynasty. It is not that Hindu versus Muslim and all that. That's what. So Akbar came and allied with Sambhaji. Sambhaji felt that by allying with Akbar, he can get the Delhi's throne. He can become the whole. So that was the earlier story. So all this angered Aurangzeb. He came and settled in Aurangabad. And once the food supplies were blocked, Then Aurangzeb decided to attack Raigad from north and south both. And when he was attacked from north and south both, he was captured by Aurangzeb's army. And Aurangzeb was not on the field. So he was brought to Aurangzeb where he was humiliated. Now, some of these primary accounts which are floating in people's memory do not have exact sources of citation. But broadly, many things are there in James Lane's book and book by Jundar. So these are the primary sources from which this story can be considered. Because I have not given the exact timeline.
The dates, yeah.
The real story where people put their spices and make it a bit cumbersome is that when he was brought in, Aurangzeb got him humiliated. He made him wear the clothes of a clown. And Aurangzeb's army was laughing at him. After that, then he was murdered brutally. Now what people say is that Aurangzeb asked him to convert to Hinduism, convert to Hindu, and then he will forgive him. Now this exact citation of this is not available. So anyway, he was killed very brutally. That point is clear in most of the standpoint. So what happened after this? Sambhaji Maharaj, after his death, then Maratha had a resurgence. This is a contrast of the history. Aurangzeb won the battle, but Aurangzeb's empire started declining after Aurangzeb. Shivaji's empire, Maratha kingdom started growing after Sambhaji's death also, because the attendants, Peshwas, they came in command. And then east, Bengal, and north Punjab, other area. So of course, in Bengal, Sambhaji's armies were regarded as a terror, as a proper, say, commonly. Mothers used to frighten their children in the name of Maratha armies. You go to sleep, otherwise Maratha army will come, something like that. So they created a deal of terror. So this is as far as the historical incidents are concerned. And what is important here, before I come to your question, these battles were not for religion. They were mainly for power on the side of Aurangzeb, mainly from power on the side of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Last point before you take your question. Shivaji Maharaj is remembered very fond followers because very sympathetic policies towards poor people. He removed the unnecessary burden on poor people when army secretary salas used to extract it. That he stopped, and he respected women. Second, Kalyan Subedar's daughter-in-law was brought to him to give he returned it. And third thing was that he respected all the religions. Like army. Now, Sambhaji Maharaj, when he came, he undid what Shivaji's policy was. So army was given a free leash where whenever you go, you can rape, you can do things like that. And he himself had indulged in a lot of things. This is what is wrote by Savarkar and Kaushal.
That makes sense. So basically, what you're saying is that there was a lot of power struggle between both the kingdoms, and it was not about religion. And secondly, the legacy of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Shivaji, in terms of his ruling, was not the same as his son. There were completely different strategies and the manner of rule that they had. But again, like you had correctly mentioned about Savarkar and Golwalkar, I wanted to come to that again. Even on Wikipedia, that's what is mentioned, that he was a womanizer, he had addictions to alcohol, and that's what even Savarkar said. That's what we are understanding as of now. So is that really true? Because if we look at the movie Chhaava, there doesn't seem to be any of those aspects coming into the picture. It's just the glory of the war during his time of rule. So is it right that was he a person involved in these things, or these are just accusations put up? Because as far as my understanding, Savarkar did not have a very good impression of Sambhaji Maharaj. So, is it right, or are these just accusations blatantly put?
The thing in the Hindu Padmachahi book, Savarkar's book, Hindu Padmachahi, is precisely this. And Ulvalkar's book also says on the same. By the way, this film is not based on history.
Okay.
This is based on a novel by Shivaji Sawant.
Hmm.
So the fiction writers take their own liberty. That facts which have more emotional impact, they reflect their own political ideology also in that. So Shivaji that way, right wing, many of the right wing uphold him because of his some positive qualities. But other like Sambhaji and all that, there is also a thing which they said that Ishwas, some Brahmins, were against Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. That's why they wrote strong accounts. So these both, like today, on one side, like as you see the film is totally focused on the brutality of Aurangzeb, suffering of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, and the terminal part of the life of Shivaji. That is the only thing which is presented. The earlier part, as his imprisonment in Kannada by Shivaji, by Jaswant Singh, and all that. The writer's focus, writer means writer of this novel.
And
He is not concerned with that. He is concerned with showing that this was the Hindu-Muslim battle. He was a cruelly brutal fellow out to spread Islam. Now here I like to point that many of the people from Maratha family sometimes were under the patronage of Aurangzeb directly. Aurangzeb did not convert them. Second point, 34% of the top officials of they were Hindus. Rajat Singh, Jaswant Singh, he never tried to convert them. So here the force, the threat of conversion was more of a way of humiliating a defeated king. It was not a process that how Islam spread in Europe. There's nothing, because kings don't spread religion. Kings don't spread, and they spread power and they accumulate wealth. So in contrast, the narrative which has been set in India by different ideology, here the king is identified by their religion. They will ignore the fact that Aurangzeb's officers were Hindu, Shivaji's officers were Muslims, Siddhi Sambal, Ibrahim Gardi, Daulat Khan. So this point they don't take into care. They just, what British introduced communal historiography, they focus on that there is Hindu king, that is Muslim king, and they are as if they are ruling for their religious value. Meaning, factor. Religion is a factor, but not a major factor driving the ambitions of the kings.
so, what Savarkar and that said, was that right? Because was that partly right as a behavior of that person, let's say?
Yeah. See what Savarkar had no enmity with Tata. Though, of course, more for a practical idea himself. But this is like two things. One is a James Lane book which has been banned in India. It's that Shivaji Maharaj imprisoned his own son. So, of course, Shivaji Maharaj said, no, which is his son, unless there is some deep behavior which is not
Also, coming to this part again, now Maharashtra Cultural Affairs Minister, they have announced an award which is called as for basically the song award for inspirational songs in memory of Sambhaji Maharaj. And the first inaugural award is supposedly going to go to Savarkar's Anandi Mein, if I'm not wrong. How do you see the contrast? Because for a person who did not really appreciate him as a king or as a heir to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's legacy, he is getting the first award. So how do you see that in today's time?
It is like this, that on one hand, look, with ideology. BJP, which BJP is a follower, they need heroes in the history whom they can glorify. So they glorify Shivaji to the top, mainly though he was not a Brahmin. But why they glorify him? Because he fought against Aurangzeb. So that is the reason. Because so far as they can catch a villain for their political ideology. So here it is more focused on Aurangzeb and mainly, of course, also on Shivaji. So now Sambhaji Maharaj is also being presented as an icon for BJP, while Shivaji and Sambhaji Maharaj had great deviance as far as their values were concerned, but they are useful for the narrative which has been built by the RSS type people. So here I see a contrast. Savarkar runs down Sambhaji Maharaj, but he is appreciative of Shivaji. Golwalkar also runs down Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. As far as the narrative is concerned, they glorify Shivaji Maharaj, Rana Pratap, Siraj Chhaava, and all that. So this is a sort of a, they are not taking a holistic picture. They are picking and choosing things according to their political necessity.
So what you're saying is that history is being tweaked in terms of whatever the people want and the ideology, mostly the political ideology, and choosing to frame the narrative in that way right now. Also, one more thing that came up that has been going around the movie Chhaava is the role of the Shirke family. Now, there's a lawsuit that's going on regarding the commanders Kanoji and Kanoji Shirke. What was that like in the history? Did they betray? What had happened in that part?
Yeah, there are accounts that Vishwa Brahmins, including Shirke, they betrayed Sambhaji Maharaj. That is what is there. And Shirke's descendants are there in Maharashtra even now. After having seen the film, they filed a suit against the producer and immediately the producer apologized.
Yeah, the director did apologize. Yeah.
Gone to the court, he could have showed the evidences. So here the evidences and sources are very flimsy. So some is a make-believe history, some is a sort of a whatever suits you becomes history. So like that. So that Shirke's role cannot be defined very exactly because had it been so, had the writer-director been so upright, had they based on research, they could have very well said that whatever we are saying is based on the historical evidence. But rather than doing, they immediately said, okay, we apologize and things like that. So that is also a shady thing.
So, but there is evidence that, as per the books, mostly it said that Shirke family has betrayed. But of course, in this movie, we are not sure how or where the sources have been, so we cannot be sure what happened there. Also, coming to the portrayal of Aurangzeb, like in the recent narrative, we have seen Aurangzeb being portrayed as a very evil, cruel king who hated Hindus or who wanted to convert them, who destroyed temples. And a part of it in this movie also seems like that with the whole gore violence and the dialogues and the whole narrative. So, how do you see that overall? What do you have to say about that? Is it only that because some parts of it you have already clarified that he had Hindu generals in his own court, he had people there, and he did not try to convert them?
Yeah, see, simple thing is that one is very, no king in the history spread his religion, barring Emperor Ashok. Emperor Ashok is the only king in history who spread his to love, to peace and harmony. Okay. For Aurangzeb, keeping the Mughal empire in the path of expanding was a central goal. That's why he killed his brothers, he imprisoned his father. But that is the way of the king. Now, these things are highlighted about Aurangzeb. But you see, recently, just a couple of decades ago in Nepal, King Gyanendra murdered the whole family of his brother. So, Ashoka himself, who we regard as great and he has a lot of great quality, he also killed many of his brothers to come to power. So, these are the matters within the court. In some other YouTuber yesterday, based on research, was telling that for king, his brother used to be like a snake.
Because they
I,
would inherit the throne.
you kill the snake or you get killed. And in Hindi, I'll tell you this thing. Mughal princess used to say, "Takht or tabut." Either I get power or I get killed. No problem. But they're so high that they can't compromise anything short. Like in today's language, oh, I want chief ministership. Deputy chief ministership will do. So that was a thing, parallel thing at that time. So that is one. Secondly, such narratives of communalism, generally they need enemies. They need enemies to polarize the majority. Now, if you have given me a minute, I'll tell you how this started. 1857, there was a rebellion against British rule,
Yeah.
led by Kaushal, supported by Tata Sahab, Tope, Nana Sahib Peshwa, Jhansi ki Rani. Hindu Muslims came together and fought against British. Then intensified their policy of divide and rule.
Yeah.
For divide and rule, they chose Hindus and Muslims, and for instrument, they used history. British had also more anger against Muslims because of the 3 crusades, in which 2 crusades Muslims won and 1 crusade Christians won. So they, overall in India, by and large, that policy was to put place negating image of the kings. And that negative image gets transferred to today's Muslims. So that's after such films, generally you will say hatred against Muslims goes up. Sometimes an incident will take up where calling them, say they will try to get killed. While Indian Muslims are mostly coming from the low caste Hindus who were victims of the caste system, or some because of the trade, like Arab traders in the 7th, 8th century in Malabar. So this doesn't, such politics means a history. Like Indian nationalism also had a enemy. That was the British. Hindu nationalism had an enemy in the form of Muslim kings. Muslim nationalism had a same narrative against Hindus. So this was a balancing, idiotically balancing thing that you hate and become powerful, which I think is not very moderate.
So in a way, we are still taking the colonial narrative of Hindu-Muslim. Even today, we are kind of living with it, where we are not sure in the history when those kings ruled, they had this religion ideology or religious motive when they were ruling, but we have tweaked it in that form based on the colonial narrative right now. Also, yeah. Yes, you're saying so.
Yes, I want to modify. Colonial powers introduced the narrative, and it was modified, developed by Muslim communal forces on one side, Hindu communal forces on the other side. Two narratives parallel and opposite to each other. So because of that, Muslim League started hating against Jews, and Hindu communal forces started the narrative of hating against Muslims. That is what, please.
So it's basically tali do haath se bajti hai. So both the sides have equally contributed in holding this narrative.
ताली तो पाकिस्तान चली गई, अब एक ही ताली है हमको पीटने के लिए.
Yeah. Makes sense. Also, sir, the last thing, what do you have to say about the movies in the recent past? Because we've seen a lot of historical, autobiographical movies are coming up in this last decade, if we talk about it. Be it Kesri, Tanhaji, Padmavat, just to name a few, the major ones. From what today's interview, we do understand that history is not being accurately presented or the whole picture is not being shown. But in general, how do you see this going forward?
It is not going forward. It is not going forward. But let me remind you, in 1950s and 60s, many movies in a fictionalized form were made on these Mughal kings, attacking. It's not the first movie. Sambhaji Maharaj. There were many. But from 1956, 50s and 60s, there's a very pleasant touch in this. And remember one film, that is Mughal Azam.
Yeah.
One of the films you see, it's a fictional version of the history, but it shows so much empathy, harmony, power of love and other things. Now from last couple of decades, like Padmavat, you see, Padmavat. That was also based on a novel.
Yeah.
Padma was the woman and Padma was a novel written by Malik Muhammad Jaisi, which was made popular by the bards, and from there British created a history. That is the real history. So that also was meant to spread hatred against Alauddin Khilji and turn to the Muslims of today. Same, so today this comes in a series of multiple attempts by communalized version. Like you see Kerala story, Kashmir files, Pure, many other films have come up which are more the propaganda films. Their aim is very clear: to earn money box office. Many of them don't make money. But Chhaava somehow has clicked. Kashmir files have clicked. So many filmmakers are trying what they call it बहती गंगा में हाथ धोना पड़ रही है, हम भी थोड़ा ऐड कर देते हैं, थोड़ा हमारा एक छोटा सा बंगला है, उसके बाद तो बड़ा बंगला हो जाएगा, एक कार है 10. So this is some filmmakers without resorting to the serious research, proper sources of history, trying to make these films which are searching the stories. And I see it as a very big, because they intensify. Already a lot of hatred is there. Already we have deviated from the idea of India, which was the idea of our freedom fighters, or is the idea of our constitution. So we are deviating from that, and this films like this may intensify that sort of a process, which I am very scared.
So scary times if such movies continue holding one part of the narrative without showing the whole picture or the actual truth. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. No, it's okay. Thank you.